Here is a young man who has probably never been to the Bali restaurant. His name is Kees Bous, and he works with his father in the family greenhouse in Aalsmeer, just a few miles outside Amsterdam. Father and son grow flowers, flowers which will be auctioned in Amsterdam. And it sounds like an easy life, but listen to this earnest young Dutchman.
Here in Aalsmeer, we growers get up several hours before dawn. There's always a lot of work to be finished, even before we eat breakfast. That, in fact, is what my mother is working on inside the house. It's a typical Dutch-style breakfast with coffee or tea, cooked ham, boiled sausage, liverwurst, bread and butter. She calls my father and I to breakfast by ringing a bell. Naturally, we wear wooden shoes for our work. They are really more practical because they are dry and comfortable. By the time my father and I come in for breakfast, the rest of the family has gotten up. My brother Nico is home on a pass from the army. My sister Mary is still in high school in Aalsmeer. I sit next to my father, but that doesn't mean that we talk about business during breakfast. Usually it's just small talk about the family and sports. To move the plants from here to the market, we still use a barge powered by a gasoline motor. Some of the other growers in Aalsmeer have changed to trucks, but we still like the barge because it's smoother, it doesn't break the plants. Early in the morning, the trip through the canals can sometimes be very cold. Our plants will be sold in the Aalsmeer cooperative. In Dutch, it's called Centrale Aalsmeerse Veiling, which means Central Aalsmeer Auction. The canal leads right into the building itself. This is very important in winter because the delicate plants are never exposed to the cold weather. Unloading doesn't take very long. I'll return shortly to the greenhouse to bring another 4 or 5 barge loads back to the market. This is the last we see of the flowers. From here, they'll pass into the auction rooms to be sold to buyers who will ship them all over the world.
And so in the wee hours after midnight they come to the auction house, these flower growers of Aalsmeer. They come by barge, truck, bicycle-driven cart, and even hand-drawn wagons. The auction is fascinating to watch, even at this early hour before dawn. Now each grower's flowers are rolled out on carts and identified as to the name of grower, the quantity, and the type of flowers. Now the auctioneer calls off the asking prices, and these are also recorded on a huge clock-like device for all the buyers to see. Now when the pointer reaches a price that interests a buyer, the buyer simply presses a button and the sale is made. An assistant to the auctioneer inspects the flowers from the floor and shouts out his opinions, good or bad. This, of course, is intended to help the buyers. Here's a place that the Bous family can visit without feeling out of place or worrying about a big bill. The Café Mascotte. And the big attraction here has been the robot band. Now, these robots don't actually play the music. Their movements, however, are cleverly synchronized to the jukebox music, making it appear that the robots are playing. sundown in the harbor of Amsterdam, the city that gives thanks to the sea. And well it should, for the harbor and port activities alone account for 1/3 of the city's economic lifeblood. But even that statistic doesn't tell the full story, for Amsterdam is rated 5th in importance among the seaports of Europe, a considerable achievement for the seaport of so small a nation. The harbor came before the city back in the 12th century, so it's not too far-fetched to suggest that without its outlet to the sea, Amsterdam today might be just another picturesque little Dutch village. Well, sundown means very little among the harbor people, because more than 8,000 sea vessels dock here each year, and work goes on regardless of the time of day. At midnight, the captain of the freighter Achilles prepares to sail.
Hello, I'm Captain de Vries of the motor ship Achilles from the Royal Netherlands Steamship Company in Amsterdam. We are about to leave tonight from here to Aruba in the Caribbean. Navigating in the Amsterdam harbor is not so difficult. There are no currents whatsoever, and the channel is almost straight. It takes us about 3 hours from here to sea.
This map shows how Amsterdam connects with the North Sea at IJmuiden, 10 miles away, by means of the North Sea Canal. This beacon at IJmuiden welcomes the ships of all nations to the largest lock and the deepest canal on the face of the earth, a lock so big it can accommodate anything afloat, including an aircraft carrier. From his control tower, the harbor master operates the enormous gates of the lock simply by pressing a button. Each of the 2 gates weighs 1,200 tons, and it takes 2.5 minutes to open or close the lock gates. It takes about 50 minutes to pass a ship through the lock, and once through, it's the North Sea and the ports of the world. The harbor separates the main and north end sections of Amsterdam, and 3 ferry routes service the heavy traffic. Within a few years, these day and night ferries will be replaced by underground tunnels that will connect the 2 main sections of the city. Another look at the map shows us that Amsterdam connects with the Rhine River by means of the Rhine Canal. This is the canal barge Forstwake, which sails the Rhine from Amsterdam to Switzerland and back. The captain of the barge, Chris Essendam, lives aboard the barge with his wife and their young son, Jacob. What's it like living aboard a Rhine River canal barge? Well, Mrs. Essendam compared it to living in a trailer. Her kitchen or galley is small, much smaller than it appears in these pictures, but it does have most of the modern conveniences and appliances that we would find in the average Amsterdam home. In addition to the kitchen and the living room, there are 2 small bedrooms and even a porch. Some 7,000 families of Amsterdam live in houseboats, renting space on the water from the city for about $3 per month. We asked this typical couple, the Punts, why they live in a houseboat.
In Amsterdam, it's very difficult to find a private home. There are about 30,000 people on a waiting list, but here we have our private home, and we are just in the middle of a city. There are many boats passing by our houseboat, and from time to time our houseboat rocks just a little bit, but it doesn't disturb us, because there's an old saying in Holland that said, water gives rest, and we think it's true.
Yes, water gives rest, and for the Punts, it provides low-cost yet comfortable housing.